good right there. That's good.
I don't believe a word they
All
say.
right.
Oh no.
What?
I don't believe a word they say in Washington.
Ooh. Okay.
They're all a bunch of freaking liars.
All of them? Every last one of them?
Every one of them. I guess they tried to interview AOC and she bagged ass. Yeah. What do you think about the gas prices? Gone.
I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. I've got important things to do. I got to figure out how to screw my constituents.
That's exactly what she said. I hope the people, but do you know the people in Brooklyn, where she's from, that put her in there? They're so freaking stupid they won't even let her. They'll vote her back in again.
Well-
You've already got a fan in Shayna. She goes, agreed.
Oh my god, I didn't think we were.
Oh, we're
live.
online now?
Yeah. We've been on, Paul.
Oh my god.
The things I've said.
Well, it's true. I mean, come on.
She's the illest too. Shayna, the illest.
You know,
What does illest mean?
Illis?
Illest.
The sickest?
I don't know.
Oh.
It could be. I mean, maybe not sickest as in like physically sick.
Oh.
Just like, yo, I'm sick, baby.
Like that dope is sick.
That, yeah, it's ill. That's ill.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Hey, Google. What's Illis mean?
I don't
Chilling.
know.
Here's what I found.
Nothing.
Chilling. Chill. Oh, it's chilling.
Chilling?
Yeah. Often
Chilling like a villain.
coming of a fever.
All right. So Shayna's chilling because she's the illest. All right. So I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How do you feel about a pot store coming to town?
Is it actually coming, or are they debating whether or not
It's a legal thing.
Well,
but
yeah,
what
it's
is
a legal thing.
But what is your personal feeling about a pot store coming to town? Let's say it's done. It's over with. It's coming. How do you feel about it?
Well, I've got two things to say about it.
Okay.
One, I think the individual towns should be able to decide what comes into this town and what doesn't.
Mhm.
You know, just like a porn store or sex toy store. You know, I think it's that choice, but at the same time, I think pot is legal now, and you know, people are going to do what they want to do. If you want to go to a pot store and buy some marijuana, have a ball with it, as long as it doesn't influence my life.
Okay.
I really don't care.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
it comes to town. What are you going to do? Can't stop somebody from bringing.
No,
it.
I'm not asking you what you can do. I'm
Oh.
asking you how do you feel about it?
Oh, if it's
Coffee
it's-
table talk at the Lash House.
it's-
I mean, what do you?
It's going to be controlled anyway. There's going to be all kinds of checks and balances to make sure that the appropriate people buy this stuff.
Do you remember the counter at Aramoni's where all the old guys talked and just kind of,
Yeah.
talked about the day?
Yep.
They're going to have the same thing at the pot store, but it's going to be all dope heads.
Yeah.
Just,
No,
I
dude.
don't think so.
I don't think so because don't forget. I know
chips?
because
Lots of ho-hos
I mean,
going on.
I mean, a lot of the people that are using medical marijuana now.
Mhm.
I mean, they're mostly people that are in their 70s and 80s. They smoked it when they were back in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, they were literally, look at the store down in Montville. It's if you go down there any time of day, it's like going to McDonald's. I mean, there's no place to park.
So we got to say hello to Melinda.
Hello, Melinda.
Who's in I don't know where she is now. You moved too much, Melinda. No.
Yeah.
She's in Kansas.
Yeah.
And she's probably the biggest stoner I know. And number two, she's my baby mama to Nicholas.
Okay.
Sorry, Melinda. I can say what I want now. Anyway, no, she goes, it's medicine, people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, chiming on this already.
The other question to
Perry says the price of meds is outrageous. CBD is a great help. I find that CBD is hit or miss with people.
Yeah, it was a miss for me.
Yeah. I've tried it because you get a couple pains, but it's how much do you take?
The other thing to consider is, will it impact the drug trafficking going on through town?
No, I don't think so.
You know?
I don't think so because I think what'll happen is that the price, I'm assuming, is going to be at a premium.
Oh yeah.
Where
Oh yeah.
I think what it'll do is it'll cause the product on the street to get worse and more dangerous.
Yep.
You
But-
know,
But the quantity going
cheaper.
through town.
No, I still think people they're going to buy for price.
Yep.
And we heard Miranda when she came in here, she's talking about all these cutting agents
Mhm.
that people are putting in their stuff, and they're putting it, the dealers are, and they're putting it in marijuana too,
Mm-hmm.
including fentanyl. It's very dangerous. It's very
Right.
dangerous. The stuff that you would get at a dispensary is controlled, and
Yeah.
I've never been to a dispensary. You have,
I have not been in because in order to go in, you really got to have the card.
right?
But yeah, I've been there. There's a lot. And they come out with the little bags. All I know is
Yeah.
like you go in there, you tell them what you want, and if you got the card, and you come out with a little white bag,
Mm-hmm.
and you can. I mean, it's going to cost you anywhere between $50 to $150 just to get some little thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap.
Laura says it's going to cause the same controversy as liquor stores coming in way back in the day. Now we have a liquor store on every street corner, which is true. And believe it or not, there is an ordinance. We're in the state
Yeah.
that says you can only have so many liquor stores, per street corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a town,
Yeah.
the whole thing with marijuana is you can have one store. I think it's per 25,000 people.
I don't know what the
So you could have one right here in Jewett City, but then one right over the bridge in Lisbon.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you could.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
Is there a legal quantity limit? I mean, can I go in and buy a pound of pot?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure if there's any. I don't think. I think you're right. I don't think there's any.
Because what's to stop me from going in, buying a pound of pot, and then cutting it with oregano and selling it and making profit?
You could. If you got caught, you'd be up. You'd be
Yeah.
spending your time in.
And you lose your card and go away.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're going to have a card. Medical and marijuana people have a card, but
Shayna says there are limits at the dispensary, which
there you go.
makes
There you
sense.
okay.
I'd like a metric ton, please.
Perry says in Massachusetts, you don't need a card. It's pay and go. Must be 18 with if what?
With it? Was it?
I thought it was 21.
I don't know.
I thought it was 21 that
I don't know.
you needed to be to buy it.
I don't know.
Alcohol's 21.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mood enhancing drug. Alcohol is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the age limit is. Never really paid that much attention.
Here's something. This is really important. Think about this. You need a car to go to the dispensary. You can take your license from Connecticut and go to Massachusetts and not pay the tax. But here's the thing. A lot of people that maybe frequent heroin, marijuana, that kind of stuff, maybe they don't have a car. Maybe
Mhm.
that's why they're buying the $5 bang, or whatever.
Well, with the price of gas down, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to go to Massachusetts.
Melinda says it's up to the state, the age. I just thought it was 21 because a lot of organizations like,
Yeah, we could be 21.
huh?
Yeah, I would think we'd be 21. I can't believe they would not do under 21. Yeah, that'd be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. So
But you know what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen in this town. Somebody tries to bring one in. They're going to have to go to planning and zoning. And then you're going to have 50 million people in there saying, no, 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 no.
Mhm.
And they're going to, and then now they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. What do you do? That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It won't be easy trying to bring one into Jewett City.
Well, that's what I said. It's up to the town to decide whether or
Well,
not.
Yeah, but if you own a business, right?
Mhm.
And you're going to do something here in town, you got to go to planning and zoning if you're going to do something with a building or whatever.
Right.
Mhm, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people in there bitching,
You-
complaining.
Do you think a strip club or an adult store would make it in town?
I
They're
don't-
both legal businesses.
I
Right,
think, that,
right.
but it's there's certain things they say in the zoning regulations. If it doesn't specifically say a strip club, then you would have to go for a zoning change.
Not for nothing, but we have 4 churches in a 1 square mile here.
Yeah, but I would think it's not in. I think they would have to go and you'd have to change the zoning.
But
rules.
but I think what Chris is asking is, would it survive here? Is that what you were asking?
Well, yeah. Would it
Okay.
be morally condemned by?
Well, anything's. I mean, anything in
Well,
there could
that's
be morally condemned.
Well, I don't think a marijuana store is going to be looked at through the same eyes as a clock repair store.
No, that's true.
Okay.
I think people aren't going to go out and protest out in front of the clock repair store
No,
because they want digital clocks versus analog clocks.
right.
But if
Okay.
we put a pot store in town, I think there are going to be a select group of people that are going to protest it, that are going to talk bad about it, and never visit it.
But I mean, I'm not even sure whether the zoning regulations right now allow for. Is that a zoning change we'd have to do? I don't know.
Well, we know that in Griswold they put a moratorium for 1 year.
Right.
Because it was legal a year ago, but now the town, said, oh, let's wait a year and see if more
Mhm.
information comes out, and something that it'll make it easier for us to make a decision.
Right.
Because the Griswold or Plainfield or Canterbury, Lisbon, Voluntown, they can all make their own decision.
Right.
Whether or not they're going to allow it or not in their own, in planning and zoning
Yeah.
to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about it. If every town had it, there'd be like 5 locations
Oh yeah.
within 10 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do we know how many active stores there are in the state of Connecticut at this time?
I don't know.
Do we have a ballpark?
I don't think there's. I haven't heard of any. To be honest with you, most people go to Massachusetts. I don't know.
It would be interesting to see how many there are and what the demographic is. Where are they
Yeah.
located mostly?
Just like I think here, the demographic isn't here for pot stores.
Susanna, our friend from All Paws on Deck Dog Rescue, says, isn't there already one near the Jewett City Pizza Palace? Pot store?
No, it's a CBD
it's
store.
A CBD store. That is
Big
correct.
difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Ronnie Grumcrow says, well, they let XXX movies at the State Theater years ago.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
and then wasn't there like an adult?
If we're talking about morally
yeah, I know.
marginable type of things,
Yeah.
Right.
But wasn't there a store down the street here that a woman owned that had some kind of
Yeah.
LD?
on School Street.
Yeah, she sold toys and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
Marvin, the barber. It was his wife,
Oh,
and I think they still sell the stuff.
Yeah.
But just not in that location anymore.
Yeah.
So Marvin's cool.
but that was a lot of
The
people.
barber.
A lot of people frowned on that too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There are going to be people that are going to frown on anything that you
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
do, and that's just whether it's public opinion or it's just personal choice,
Yeah. That's why I think if somebody came in and they wanted to put one here, they would have a tough time in planning and zoning.
Mhm.
I wanted to open up a dwarf jello wrestling
Yeah,
store.
it's legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's legal. It's
Can't
it's
say-
legal
You
competition.
can't
right,
say
yeah.
the word dwarf. You got to say little people. It's little people, not dwarfs.
It's not Snow White and the Seven Little People.
That's right.
Unfortunately, it's little people.
Oh, now see,
You know what?
you just stirred up the woke community. Now that's
Jesus.
right. We should change the name of that. Ban it. Ban it.
As far as being woke or whatever, Paul, you are the most uptight and white person I've ever met. You are as canceled as anybody.
I'm
It's like
just telling
you go, can't say this, can't say that. You are, and you won't. That's the thing. You won't. You
Nope.
won't say it. That's the thing.
The only thing I won't
All I
say
was trying to do
is
tell
based on
you.
what the FCC says I can say
Well,
in reference George Carlin.
dude,
and the
this is
seven
internet
words.
radio. We can say what we want.
That's
The
right.
problem is, well, it's not a problem, but the people, we want to keep it clean because we're not that type
Right.
of media outlet.
So no George Carlin skits.
No, some of them would
Some of
work.
them- stuff.
Sure, stuff. Yeah, even some Robin Williams stuff. So Brian says no active stores yet for recreational. That store near the Pizza Palace is shady, he says, and they have more than CBD.
Define more.
Can't.
He can. Brian can do it all day long.
Well, I mean, are they dealing with illegal narcotics right now, or
I've never stepped foot in there.
I haven't. I've talked with the owner,
Yeah.
because I walk my dog every day, and he's commonly outside
Yep.
on his cell phone. So, we chat.
Mhm.
Seems like a decent enough jet.
Sure. Probably is.
Is he dealing heroin out of the back room? I have no idea.
Oh, if he was, they certainly would.
They would have shut him down. I
They
think
would-
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the barber shop that used to be there was utilizing his cellar space to hide stolen property.
Susanna also
Yeah.
goes on to say, I remember the old first selectman had a marijuana business too. Is incorrect.
No, he had a CBD business.
What was he selling? What was it?
Hemp.
Hemp. He was growing.
Yeah, it was
Right.
CBD.
So, but I think but then again, let's go back to perception.
Mm-hmm.
The perception of that
Hemp is pot.
is pot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be. It'll be interesting, but I don't know if anybody would the demographics be here in this town for a pot store. I don't know.
I think it would be visited.
It might be good.
I think there's intrigue.
Yeah, but do you think you would get enough to survive?
Yeah, I do, because I think more people smoke it than you realize.
Well, yeah.
There's a lot of people that'll come out and say, yeah, I do. And then there are a lot of people that won't talk about it, but you know damn well, my mother was the biggest pothead I ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Legit. She was the biggest pothead I had ever met. Every week, she would go see some guy named Greg. And then she would go, and I would go on the ride with her. And then she would buy her ounce or whatever, come home, and she'd be cleaning it, and the seeds would be flying everywhere because you couldn't put the seeds when you're rolling them. Why? Because you lit it up, and they go pop.
It's like popcorn.
Yeah, Paul, you know. So anyway,
But
so anyway, hold on. And I was always, when I was, well, I was never little, but I mean, when I was younger, I was always scared to death of it.
yeah.
I was scared to death of it because I'm thinking, my mother's on drugs. My mother's on drugs. So guess what happened? My mother made me smoke it with her.
Okay.
I never
But-
ate so many freaking chips in all my life. Hey, Mom. Then she took me to the old Norwich Town Mall.
Oh yeah.
All right. And literally had to hold me up because I was baked. I was baked like a
Well,
potato, man.
You were 4.
No, I was 15.
Okay.
I was 15, and we ran into somebody that my mother knew, and I knew because I was friends with her daughter. And I'm not kidding you. Her and Sharon who's my stepmother, were literally holding me up. I'm like,
And
So
strangely enough, that was the first time you ever used the word dude.
then we got back.
Mike's like, dude.
We got back in the car, came home. I swear to all things that are holy, I slept 17 hours.
You know what I remember from those
I
days?
did. I remember that.
I remember it was easy to find the people that were buying pot by the length of their pinky fingernail, because that's what they
Yeah.
would use to flick the seeds out of their pot. So they'd grow their pinky nail out, a quarter inch or so.
So you ask about would it survive in this town? Well, there is a lot of activity in our little chat room this morning.
Yeah,
about
it
this,
is.
Okay, so maybe that will give you a little bit of a gauge. Let's see. Oh boy,
Did you start a poll
gas
yesterday?
station CBD very bad for you, says Perry. That store in Jewett City. Who is this? That store in Jewett City has CBD and Delta 8, which is legal. That's Stephanie. Because in the chat room online, it doesn't show the name of the person, but I can look in the chat room on my phone and it shows. Ooh, look at all the people. Look at all the people jumping in on this one.
Everywhere.
Let's see. Cutleaf, which is, I guess, is the name of the place, is a good place to learn, Perry said. Obviously, Perry is a customer.
Mhm.
And, so, and that's cool. So he's going to be very positive, moving forward, but then there are people that don't know.
Perry, have you ever bought? Oh my God, Have you ever bought anything illegal from that store?
He's not going to admit that.
He says there's more to stores than weed, gummies and drops and stuff to cook or mix with in your tea, etc. But here's the thing. Gummies and stuff, you got to be really careful. And this is one of the things that they're really concerned with. They're not really concerned with as much as what you're smoking. They're concerned more with the edibles. And the
Right.
reason why is because a little gummy looks like any old candy gummy. And you get a kid that grabs some of those,
Yep.
and you can have some problems.
Exactly.
So,
No, like I told you, Belushi, Jim Belushi, has a big pot farm. I think it's out in Oregon or
Mhm.
somewhere out there, and he sells ice cream, pot ice cream, to Massachusetts. There's a place in Massachusetts.
who does it again?
Jim Belushi.
Jim
Jim
Belushi.
Belushi. That's right. Yeah.
Sells ice cream in Massachusetts, and it's supposed to be really, really good.
Mhm.
So I would be tempted just to taste
And
it.
very calming.
Yeah, I'd be tempted just to taste it to see what it
Well,
was like.
I would assume that the taste of pot is probably
don't know.
not so great.
I don't
They
know.
must sugar it up a lot.
I don't know, but apparently it's a big seller in Massachusetts.
Oh, I am having a hard time keeping up with all these comments. Woo! You're moving and grooving. All right, so here Court says there is a huge, and this is really important, and this is very true that nobody has spoken to yet. There's a huge expense to obtaining the state and local permits, even before opening one of these establishments. This alone will limit how many are opened across the state.
Yeah, if you think about
Yeah.
how much pot they're going
That's
to
the
have to
big
sell
one.
just to recover their losses or their expenses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the intangible right there. It's
Mhm.
not going to be Joe from around the corner going, "Hey, Paul, you wanna open up a pot store?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. Let's see if we can return these bottle deposits, and we can start going from there
Yeah. There's no
Yeah.
return. Yeah. Is there a deposit?
from our
when you
nip
buy a-
bottles."
Malloy is already eyeballing some
Malloy?
retail. Yeah,
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
that's okay. He's eyeballing some retail space so that he can start his new ventures.
Yeah.
Um,
So anyway,
I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it would have a hard time getting here, to be honest with you.
Perry says lots of us do the mail order venues too.
Yeah.
Can you mail
Yeah,
an order?
you can mail
pot?
order. Yeah, you can send away to get it. Yeah, you can.
Laura says, and this is a good question: is locking up your marijuana products any different than locking up your alcohol in your house, or your pain pills?
Well, when you have teenagers, you not only have to look at locking it up, you also have to look at measuring it because they will.
Fill the
Yeah.
back of water.
With the pot, you're going to have to look to see how much oregano you still have left in the cabinet.
That's kind of funny because when I was young, you try things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my mother had a liquor cabinet. She didn't have much in it, but she had a few staple things, like she had some rum and some vodka,
Mm-hmm.
right? So of course, me and a couple friends were like, let's try this. Oh, we drank too much. Fill it up with water.
Uh-huh.
Come on, how many kids have done that? And
Yeah.
and I got stone busted out of that. Not
Mhm.
stoned busted because that was my mom,
Yeah.
but I did. She figured and realize that it's different consistency.
Well, when
It's
you're a
different.
kid, you got to be careful. You got to look for that little pen mark on the side of the bottle that measures how much is left in the
Oh, I
bottle.
know. See, the thing is growing up, I was as white bread got. I mean, it was really so. All right, Perry, this is not a place for advertising businesses right now. So look at New York State government to right wrongs done in the past equally in place. Ex-inmates are being asked to run them. Google it. That's what Melinda says.
Oh.
Brian, the original law was written so that the everyday Joe could get into the business, but after a lot of complaining from the already established medical growers in the state, they changed things around, and now the little guy gets screwed. And I think there's a lot of credence to that.
Sure.
Because they want big money to stay with big money.
Right.
So because if you have a big businessman going, I want to get something, I want to get into that profit.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get into that market. Damn well they're going to go to their lawmakers and they're going to say, hey, you know what? We need to do this.
Yeah.
I'm funding you. So
Mhm.
maybe we should do that.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Corporations are going to take over all the mom and pop stores. The drug pharmaceutical companies, they're going to end up being the next Walmart.
Mhm.
They're going to come in, they're going to buy up all the land, grow all the pot, and the mom and pop places aren't going to survive.
David says, I'm not a pot smoker, but I see no difference between a dispensary and a liquor store. More business in any town is a good thing as long as it's legal and reputable.
Yeah, because it will be controlled.
And I think there's a lot of correlation between liquor stores, mom's, dad's liquor cabinet,
Yep.
and marijuana at stores and mom and dad's marijuana stash.
Yeah.
I think the big thing that they worry about, like as far as like, I know Grizzle Pride talks about it, locking up your gummies, locking up your edibles,
Mm-hmm.
because if those get into the wrong hands, there could be a problem with children. They may not be doing it. They go, oh, well, it's like a gummy bear.
Do they lock up their Tide Pods?
No, that's yeah, that is a concern.
Here's something interesting, and I didn't even think about this nor realize it. You cannot have a gun permit and a weed card at the same time.
I don't know how true that is.
Because that would be taking people right out of the market.
That might have been true when
So
it
that's
was
saying-
illegal,
That's saying no gun owner can buy pot at the dispensary.
or they can't buy booze.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's a mood enhancing drug.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
You know what else is mood enhancing? Hanging out with Chris Goodenough.
You know what's mood enhancing? Chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Chocolate's
Breakfast.
awesome.
Breakfast is mood enhancing. It makes me happy.
But the bottom line, Victoria says, it is still illegal federally.
Yeah, it is federally. Yeah.
So, we miss all these things. Court brings up the case too,
Well,
that you got to have big money to go ahead and start one of these. Fred down the street is not just going to open, I'm going to start a pot store. It's not going to happen.
Well, let's
It's actually not illegal federally. The whole thing comes down to the Stamp Act of 1930 something. You were allowed to grow pot as long as you could show them that you had the stamp to grow pot. But you couldn't get the stamp to grow pot unless you could prove that you could grow pot.
Okay.
So it was a catch-22. You couldn't get the stamp. It wasn't illegal. They never made it illegal. They
Yeah.
just said you can't grow pot without a stamp. Oh, and you can't get a stamp unless you show us that you can grow pot.
Well, the other thing you got to be careful with, because the laws vary as you go through state from state
Right.
and country to
Well, it's
country.
like gun laws.
Country to country. So if you live in Washington or you live in Upper New York and you're used to having marijuana with you, and all of a sudden you decide to cross over to Canada, guess what? You're screwed because you're carrying drugs across, country lines. Look what happened with the basketball player who was on her way to Russia. She probably was, she was carrying vapor marijuana. Probably used to having it here. No, she probably should have been smart enough to know. Or used to
Check the laws.
check the laws. I mean, she's been in Russia many, many times, so you kind of wonder. She carried across and tried to get into Russia with these vapor marijuana products. So, I mean, you think she would have known that. But
Yeah.
Did they plan it? We don't know. But of course, there you go.
Well, along the same lines, a friend of mine was a private investigator, and he had a license to carry a gun. But whenever he would go into a different state, he would have to call the state and say, I'm a private investigator. What are the laws that you have on record that say whether or not I can carry a gun into your state?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing with, the marijuana. If you go from one place that has one certain set of laws to another place that has a different set of laws, you need to call in advance or
Yeah.
Google it or do something.
Yeah. I mean, the fortunate thing that we have is if we go across state lines, nobody really checks you.
And a lot of people get confused whether or not a state
Yeah.
law is also considered a federal law.
Yeah.
We have different laws for the growing of
Right.
marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
know, so going from here to Massachusetts to Maine to New Hampshire, each state might have a different law whether or not you can carry it or
You're right.
grow it or whatever.
Right. So that's the other thing you got to be careful with. So
I would think though, more so than people crossing state lines, I think they would have to do 10 times the due diligence if they're going across border lines,
Oh, absolutely. Going
Yeah,
from
different
yeah.
countries.
US to Canada.
But a lot of
Yeah.
times, you know,
or US to Russia
Yeah.
or anywhere that you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And they also may be looking for a reason to put you away.
Right.
which is what they're saying with,
Right.
So, but yeah, you got to be careful. You don't know, and a lot of times, if you're so used to carrying it through the states and you don't even think about it,
Mhm.
Crossing over to Canada, they find it. Guess what?
You know what comes to mind? You remember the Cheech and Chong movie where they get pulled over by the cops and they roll down the window and this smoke cloud escapes? That's
Yeah.
what it used to be going from Massachusetts to the state of Connecticut.
And the police officer goes, "What you eating there? Can I have a bite?" Yeah, man, you can have the whole thing. Go ahead. So, because he's like, "So, man, why'd you pull me over?" I don't know. I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember.
I can't remember. You mind if I sit in the back?
But I love that because the cop was getting stoned. He
Oh
goes,
yeah.
"So what are you eating there?" "Oh man, it's a chili dog." Can I have a bite? What's the matter, Paul? You look like you got all disgusted all of a sudden. Paul's taking a toke break.
Pass it down, dude.
The biggest word in pot smoking: ear.
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 You're in.
Do they still use those clips? Remember the clips they used to put on?
Roach clips.
Yeah, they still do those.
People used to wear them, right? They had flowers and stuff like that. People think it was fashion in the 80s. No, man, it was there to hang your roach clip off.
Yeah,
I was in the medical field. We called them hemostats.
I can remember going out to the smoking area in high school because there was a smoking area in the patio, right? Back when you could smoke on school grounds and the students could.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Dr. Marcus Welby used to smoke right in the damn room.
Yep.
Talking about.
Yeah.
But no, kids would pull out their roaches
Mm-hmm.
and they would smoke them after lunch.
When I was
Just
going-
make them hungry again, but
When I was going through high school at NFA, it was out on the green. Easiest way to find potheads. Go to whatever time when we were gathering outdoors, and
Uh-huh.
anybody that was on the green, they were potheads.
Perry says folks with pain management meds can't own a gun, but if you're a drunk, you can drive around locked and loaded.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of room for growth, in these laws, to make them congruent with one another, because there are a lot of differences. There are a lot of differences with alcohol laws and blue laws and pot laws and what you can and cannot
But
do.
it's all going to come down to money. How much can the politician put in his pocket to change that law?
or the special interest groups.
Yeah.
It's really what it all comes down to. What do you
Mhm.
think prohibition got out?
Right.
Went away because they made money on it. Why do you think? All right, cigarettes.
Mhm.
Why do you think that they're still legal? It's nicotine is a highly addictive drug.
Mhm. And
Is it
cigarettes-
mind altering? No. But it's highly addictive to the point where you got to keep buying them and buying them and buying them. Why do you think the state taxes them so heavily? Why? Because people are going to buy them
Because they can make money.
and they can make money. It's the same thing with the
Yeah.
gas tax.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now there will be a CBD tax and there'll be a marijuana tax. and
Mhm.
there'll be all of this stuff. All right. I mean, come on. Who thought, number one, we were going to have legalized bingo or high stakes bingo, right? Then who thought we were going to have table games here in Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
Then who thought we were going to have slot machines?
Mhm.
Now you can sit on your couch and legally gamble on a slot machine
Yep.
through your phone,
Mhm.
Yeah, you can.
or you can bet on a sports team from your phone. You don't even have to go anywhere.
That's right.
Who thought 25 years ago that would even be a thing?
You can put $20 on the Broncos in your boxers.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
offering you $15 to $25 just to try it. Give you free money.
Because they want to hook you.
They want to
Yeah.
stop you.
They want to hook you. You know, it's like, oh, this is really, really easy. It's kind of like going to the blackjack table for the first time and winning $500. It's like, oh, this is flipping easy.
Yeah.
And you go back and you chase it.
Mhm.
Kind of like heroin.
I was
You're
just about to
chasing it,
say,
you're chasing it, and it never really comes back.
first hit of heroin's always free.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Well, gambling's here now.
A friend of mine said to me long time ago, because I was kind of disgusted that they did cocaine. And they said to me, why don't you do it? And I said, because I'm afraid I would like it too much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I never touched it, never have. And I won't, because number one, I don't like being out of control of myself. That's kind of one of the reasons why I don't really drink.
Right.
But the second thing is I'm afraid I get addicted to things quick. You know, so
Like Reese's peanut butter cups.
freaking hey, man. Oh, yeah.
Just one more cup, dude. Just one more cup. That's
No,
all I
you know
need.
what I'm
One
really-
more cup.
You know what I'm really into? I like those Nerds ropes. The Nerd candy ropes.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty much a slut for that stuff. That's pretty good stuff.
You mean the
Have you
sugar
tried-
flavored jello dipped in sugar?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you tried soap on a rope?
So says the diabetic. Oh, God.
I just was curious whether you like soap on a rope.
You can't eat it.
No.
Paul does.
Paul does. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So I think this is a conversation that we can go ahead or should go ahead and
Continue.
continue it some other day. But today we are going to say sayonara.
Because it's breakfast time.
It's breakfast time. So
I need my
Let's go out-
bacon.
Let's go out and take a hit.
I need my fix.
here. Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for showing on up today and joining us in the conversation. We try to keep conversations that are relevant to our community and to what you would like. Now, if there is something that you would like us to talk about or, just kind of bring up for everyone to talk about, you can certainly email me at mike@snsnonline.com. That's mike@snsnonline.com. And we will certainly go ahead and, we love different topics, different subjects, to speak on. So anything that you feel that is relevant, please, do so. We would love to hear from you. Mike@snsnonline.com. Or you can reach out to Paul at lash@paulspotfarm.com. I'm not lying.
I'm afraid one day the damn cops are going to show up.
Paul, can we take a look in your greenhouse? All right, everybody have a great day. Thank you very much for joining us here. And we'll see you next week.